I should have actually done this 6 months ago. And why didn't I? I mean, it was a message that I thought should be even more importantly talked about than anything else, because I want to know, what is your dream? And had you started 6 months ago, what difference could have been made if you really thought about it? And I want to talk, my whole talk that I had already done earlier for the last 20 minutes before, and I was starting to load it into Final Cut to get it edited, was all about excuses. And I want to get past the lesson of, don't let your dreams get held up by excuses. It's the number one killer of dreams. So what is your dream? And I think the first thing I need to ask you to do is do me a favor and please take the time to write down your dream on a piece of paper. Yesterday's video about goal setting and using the SMART goal method, I mentioned how I had written down all my goals and finding what type of woman I wanted. I had just gotten over a breakup when I learned about this goal setting method that you had to write down specifically what you wanted. And the best thing about the breakup, although I was going through a lot of heartache, from a breakup, the best thing about that was that I knew the type of person I did not want, and I specifically knew the characteristics I did want. So I wrote down everything that I wanted in it. And lo and behold, a few years later, I ended up finding that person, exactly everything that was on that list. Now, here's the cool thing. A friend of mine actually watched the video, and he actually commented how the exact same thing happened to him, where his mom had told him, hey, you got to write down your goals, and you got to write down very specifically what the type of person you want to meet. And sure enough, he did exactly the same thing, and lo and behold, a few years later, he too had the exact same situation happen. And this is a guy that I actually see a lot. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm not surprised, honestly, that's exactly he and I have very, very good marriages. I mean, we just celebrated, my wife and I, our 21st wedding anniversary beginning of this week, and it was just absolutely amazing to think that I've been with her for 21 years. Now, all that being said, I want to talk about you. What are your goals? What are your dreams? What is the type of person you want to meet? And have you written them down? And if you're willing to share, please put it in the comments. But first of all, make sure you write it down, pen and paper. I don't care if it's on a piece of paper that's lying around there. Just make sure you keep it and put it aside, because these are going to be really important, because you're going to actually see how this plays out. And like I said in the video, tape it up to the mirror. But if you've ever done goal setting, or if you're writing something down and you have written this before, I want to talk about those who have actually put their dreams to sleep, or who have never even had their dreams set up right. I want to make sure that you understand that when you're waking up your dreams, there are going to be things that are going to stop you from accomplishing your dreams. And number one reason is going to be excuses, hands down. I tell people that they absolutely should always read the book, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, if you find yourself making a lot of excuses. It'll teach you one small practice that'll help you overcome it, and it tells you the psychology behind why doing it. I'm not going to go into that right now, because I want to go into my 3 things about understanding excuses, the why you are having or making excuses. And the number one reason a lot of people make excuses is because the fear of failure. And that's not an uncommon thing. In fact, it's just fear in general, because there's also the fear of success that have actually stopped me from moving forward. There was a time when somebody once told me, Chris, you haven't failed in much, and that's been a big problem. I didn't understand that at the time, because I had kind of going through life really enjoying stuff, and I'd come off a lot of failures, and I thought they were failures. But lo and behold, after he had said that, I had come across some huge failures, and I started to understand that I'm afraid of being broke again. But I'm also more afraid of not accomplishing what I want to accomplish and doing my dreams before I die. Because I could also say, oh, at least I didn't fail again. But the thing is, I also didn't succeed at what I wanted to accomplish, my purpose in life. And I don't want anybody to come across having that same situation. I would like to really go over the fear factor. If something is making or holding you back, and you're afraid to take the next step forward, why not write down the worst things that could absolutely happen. My friend John actually went through this practice with me 6 months ago when I was supposed to leave to start this YouTube channel. Had I done it then, I don't know how much more it would be today rather than starting from scratch. I mean, it could be so much further ahead. I mean, I'll know 6 months from now where it would be. But needless to say, he put this exercise through me, and I had already made a commitment back to stay at my job longer. So it was already too late for me to go ahead and take advantage of this exercise. But something you might want to do is, he said, write down what is the absolute worst things that can happen if you do fail. And the worst thing is, I could go back to work and find another job. And is that really all that bad? No, it wasn't. It's not. In fact, that's actually what I'm now over with right now. If something doesn't happen here in 3 to 6 months, I can always go back to work. But we're going to work through the how we're going to make it work regardless. I already know that's the thing that there is no fear of this not working. I'm not afraid of anything, because as I worked it all out, there's not really a horrible scenario. It's not going to kill me. In fact, there is a quote that I have here that was from Winston Churchill. He says, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, and it is the courage to continue that counts." And that's a brilliant quote. I'm going to say it again. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's really all it is. Continue, or even to start. So I want you to go ahead and get over that fear of failure that's stopping you. And the way you're going to do that is to write down what your goals are. Make sure you have your dreams, make sure they're clear, and then write down what is the worst things that can happen if you try for it and it doesn't work out. You also want to go ahead and, of course, do your path and everything else, but put it down in the comments below. I really want to encourage you, after you write it down on paper, because that's important, then put it in the comments below. I want to know. Let's have a community built up around this channel that we be supportive of each other, because I will be reading everything from now on the comments. I have time, or a little more time, to go ahead and do that. Okay, the number two thing of why people keep making excuses and why we need to go ahead and how we're going to come over it is because of lack of accountability. Like, there was a guy who was always late for work, and I used to work at a job where if you were 3 minutes late for work 3 times, doesn't matter, within like 90 days or so, you would be fired, period. It was a general rule. Everybody signed it. They all knew it. And I used to tell people there's only 3 ways you're going to get fired. One is if you steal, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. 2 is if you're late and you're tardy. And 3 is if you just basically do something that really breaks the rules. It's really hard to get fired, really, from that job that I was actually helping people with during that time frame. This is way back when I had a job in retail, and it was one of those things that people would always be late, and they came from jobs that didn't hold them accountable to being late. So all of a sudden they have this 3-minute rule, and you see people scrambling in to get in there because after the first 2 times, the third strike, they're out, period. There was no ifs, ands about that. And I don't care how good of an employee they were, the rule was the rule. So it was one of those things. When accountability was put into place, they really made an effort. And those who actually realized they had an accountability issue, so I started telling them the way you do it is you have to get here 15 minutes early. I think there was a good quote that was in the Spider-Verse movie that I saw, this animation, and it says to be on time is to be 5 minutes early, and on time is late. And I love that quote. It really does make sense. So anyway, that is the next thing is, if it's not failure that's a problem, then it's accountability. You have to find accountability partners. You have to make yourself accountable and find ways down that. If you need something like that, let me know below. I'll be accountability for you. And the number 3 reason why people always have an excuse being made is because they just don't want to get out of their comfort zone. That's it. So are you just too comfortable? And that was a big problem for me. I mean, I was making good money. I was finally out of debt. I was at a job where I got to mentor people, and I was very happy with it. And the job challenged me. It was a great place to work. The environment was good. Everybody there was just super, super nice. Why would I leave? I was so comfortable. But I think in a small way, I made myself realize that I'm more uncomfortable getting older and not getting to put something out like this. it's a big thing. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you a story about why this channel is the way that it is. And it didn't start this way. And it will give you more insight as to why this is such an important project to me. So anyway, I would like to go ahead and leave that with you. This is my commentary for today. I'm not going to edit anything on this. I'm just going to go ahead and put it up the way it is, because this is what my heart really wanted to share. Is I saw so many people going through life, and I think about so many people who are going through life that have missed so many opportunities because they just made too many excuses for themselves, and they weren't real. They're not real excuses. They're not big in the way. And that's I guess the biggest heartache for me. Is I have encouraged people to apply at other jobs along their life. Oh, I don't think I can qualify. Well, how do you know? And even if you don't, you tell them you don't qualify, and they might still want you, and they'll train you. There's like those opportunities that come up. Or why don't you invest in real estate with me? Oh, I don't have enough money. I was showing people how to do that, and they wouldn't do it. Or start the business that they're looking for. Or they're unhappy at the position that they're at, and it's not a great position. Why don't they go look for another job? And they make all these excuses because they're comfortable. So here's the bottom line. I want you to awaken your dreams. I want to wake up those dreams, and I want you to start doing it. But I more importantly want you to start moving forward once you know your dreams are. I really do care. I want to know what your dreams are. Put it in the comments below. I want to know what your excuses are if you're having them. What are the worst things that can happen? The good thing about this YouTube, comment section on the bottom is you can pretty much put your comment and nobody knows who you are. It's just fine. Just go ahead and do that. Now, make sure you look at, if you don't want people to know who you are, make sure you look at your profile to see what you have set there, so you hide what you don't want to see. But put it down below there. I really encourage you. I thank you so much. I hope this is inspiring, and I hope I was able to earn your subscription below. And don't forget, if you also subscribe, you want to hit the bell, because every day as I come up with new stuff, then, we can walk this journey together of waking up our dreams and moving forward. I really do. This is my passion project. I left work to do this, and it is exhilarating. For the last 2 nights, I've been sleeping at later than 2 o'clock because I'm just so excited, doing the editing, put it up. Again, I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to put it up just the way it is. And I think this is going to be perfect. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. I hope you like this. If you did, just, put a like down below. Please subscribe. And, more than what would be the greatest honor is if you would share it as well with others. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I will see you tomorrow.